When everyone around you is agreeing, it takes courage to stand alone. But what happens when someone else stands with you? One of the most powerful tools for resisting social influence, whether it's conformity or obedience, is the presence of social support. A single ally can make all the difference between silent compliance and speaking out. But how effective is this support really? Let's explore the psychology behind it. Welcome to Life TFA, because this life is lived at 3 levels: as we think, as we feel, and as we act. I am Amit. I have some experience teaching, training, and talking about behavior, the mind, brain, psychology, and psychiatry. I am here to dive deep into these issues with you. Solomon Ash's classic studies into conformity revealed something remarkable. When participants judged the length of lines in the presence of a unanimous majority giving wrong answers, many conformed. But when just one Confederate broke ranks and gave the right answer, conformity dropped dramatically from around 75% conforming at least once to just 5 to 10%. This shows that social support, even from one person, can act as a psychological shield, giving people the confidence to trust their own judgment. The presence of an ally validates their viewpoint and reduces the pressure to conform to the group. This effect has been consistently replicated, suggesting it's not limited to artificial lab settings. It highlights how individuals often feel empowered by dissent, especially when they're not alone in their resistance. It's a compelling demonstration of how peer influence can reduce group pressure rather than reinforce it. What is your opinion? Comment below. Also, comment to suggest issues that you would like discussed here on the channel, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. The same principle applies to obedience. In one of Milgram's lesser-known variations, the real participant was paired with 2 additional Confederates. When these Confederates refused to administer the shocks and withdrew from the experiment, the participants' obedience dropped from 65% to just 10%. This suggests that social support not only breaks the illusion of unanimity, but also models disobedience as a viable option. It shows the individual that refusal is possible, moral, and acceptable. The presence of disobedient peers seems to shift the perceived social norm away from unquestioning obedience and towards personal moral judgment. This effect strengthens the argument that people do not obey blindly. They're influenced by the social cues around them. When those cues signal resistance rather than compliance, people feel less isolated in their doubts and are more likely to act on them. One of the strengths of the social support explanation is that it has clear real-world relevance. Whether it's a whistleblower in a corrupt organization, or a student refusing to go along with peer pressure, the presence of even one supportive figure can tip the balance. It empowers individuals to maintain their autonomy in the face of group norms or powerful authority figures. The evidence for this comes from both lab and real-life scenarios. From political dissenters to social activists, the power of solidarity, however small, cannot be underestimated. It explains how movements often begin, not with a crowd, but with a few courageous individuals supporting one another. However, the influence of social support isn't always straightforward. The credibility and consistency of the supporter matter. If the dissenter appears uncertain, inconsistent, or lacks expertise, their presence may have little to no effect. In fact, it might even undermine resistance by making it look irrational or confused. Furthermore, research has shown that social support is less effective when the supporter is perceived as deviant or outside the social group. This means that who the support comes from is just as important as the support itself. If the ally is too dissimilar from the person they're supporting, the psychological connection may not be strong enough to embolden resistance. Another issue is that while support can reduce conformity or obedience in the moment, its effect may be temporary. Once the supporter is removed from the situation, the individual may revert to compliance, especially if other pressures remain. This suggests that long-term resistance might require deeper personal conviction rather than simply external validation. It's also important to remember that social support doesn't operate in isolation. It often interacts with other factors, like personality, upbringing, and cultural norms. For example, people with an internal locus of control are already more likely to resist influence. For them, the presence of social support can amplify their natural confidence. But for others, particularly those from collectivist cultures where group harmony is valued, social support may be less effective if it threatens group cohesion. This makes it clear that social support is not a universal solution. It's a powerful factor, but one that depends on the social context, the relationship with the supporter, and the individual's mindset. Social support can transform a moment of pressure into an act of courage. Whether resisting peer pressure or refusing unjust orders, having someone stand beside you, even silently, can make all the difference. But while it's powerful, it's not foolproof. Resistance is shaped by a combination of personality, context, and confidence. Still, when people support one another, they're more likely to find the strength to say no. Thanks for watching. If you found this helpful, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more Psychology Explained Simply. Next time, we'll explore how minority influence can change the majority's mind. Don't miss it.